Good morning, Metaverse. I'm Thor with the Red Hand, and this is going to be a ranking video where we're going to take all the ships that are available on the marketplace right now, and we're going to put them in order from most impactful on the game down to the very least. And that's how I'm going to view it. I'm not going to use objective terms like, oh, this looks cool, and so I'm going to rank it higher for no apparent reason. Really looking at the firepower and the utility of the different components and modules, and as best we know up to this point using the economic papers, etc. Now, I've seen a couple other episodes doing ranking like Metaverse Explorer and Metaverse Nomads, and they were really fun to watch. I think they tried. They tried really hard, and I appreciate you. But I saw a lot of ships being put in the wrong places, so I figured as a public service, I would put these ships in the right order from the most impactful to the least impactful in the game as best we can tell from this point. And then when we start getting real gameplay, this will be a really good basis to go off of. And then everybody can use this as the starting point. And then if you do like the look of a ship one over the other, then go ahead and shift those around. But this can be a really good template for you. So let's just dive right into it. And this is actually coming from the Siggy actually brought this up on his Twitter first, and this is a link to the what's it called? Tier Maker, a website. And I'm also using the Mafia website for the Star Atlas ship firepower. That's a great tool that I use, as well as the Star Atlas marketplace. And so here, marketplace, and taking a look at all the different ships and this part of it, the information from there. So I went through all of these different ships and picked them out as best I can. I'm going to jump over, and this is how my ships lay out. And we'll go through it from the least impactful to the most impactful. And I actually did go in order from left to right, most impactful to least in each of the tiers. Quick wardrobe change, but the ship that I think is actually at the very bottom of the barrel is the Ogrica Mick, as the least impactful ship in the game, and compared to all the other ships in its class and ships around that. And the reason why I say that is we'll go to here. The firepower, first of all, for the Gricomic, it's one of the smallest, or one of the weakest in firepower for small ships, and it's considered a small fighter ship. It is just a little bit above an X5, which is a whole size class below it. But when we take a look at it, the origination price is 710, which is a lower small ship, but this is the least firepower that you get out of it. And then when you go down to the components, anything below the class that it's at, so it's a small class, so anything that is extra small is kind of a reduction or a minus from standard. Okay, and so we take a look at some of this stuff, and we have the missile bays are a reduction down to extra small. Countermeasures, extra small. Hull reinforcement, extra small. Most small fighter ships have 4 weapons. The Mick only has 3, and then its fuel is extra small. So it can't travel as far. It can't take a hit. It can't defend against missiles. It has smaller missiles and fewer guns. It looks really cool. I think it's a beautiful ship. It sucks. So it is at the bottom. Then the next on the lowest on the list is going to be the Fimbule Air Bike. Again, for many of the same reasons, extra small. It's the smallest type ship in the game. and it does not have any weapons when you first purchase it. You can equip weapons, and so that's adjustable. But as it is, comes stock, you're not going to be able to fight. However, this is going to be a very inexpensive entry point, so it's not that it's a bad ship, it's just the least impactful from an individual ship standpoint. Then the Calico Scud, which is just a pure racer, and again, a really cool looking ship, but it's really focused on racing, and so it has isolated itself to a very niche area of the game, and outside of that area, it's not going to have major impact. The Fimbo Unabomber after that, this ship has one bomb. And so by itself is not going to have a massive impact when, even when doing the one thing that it's meant to do, which is attack star bases and to get inside the defenses and cause damage on the actual star base itself, versus the blockade that is defending it. And so in a large swarm, if someone has a bunch of these ships, that could be impactful, but as an individual ship, and then it's got pretty low stats in comparison to the extra small ships. Then I have the Agrica Sunpaw. So let's go to this one real quick. So this is a large freighter ship, and we go down to the components, and we have, for the hard points, we have 4 medium hard points. We have a medium impulse engine. You have medium countermeasures and medium missile bays. 2 missiles, but they're medium. And then its fuel slot, which for a freighter transporting resources, it has a medium slot, so a size smaller than the class that it is. So this is a reduction from most of the other freight ships that we see out there. So lower firepower, lower travel capacity. That is why it pops down onto the D rank. It is a large ship, and so it will have impact in the game. But we look at the firepower, for example, is 194. It's right in the middle, upper end of the medium class ships. And so that is just not impressive. Then we pop up to the C level. So D level is the low end. Looking at this to C, B, when we're looking at B rank, these are your standard ships. And so the C rank is just a little bit less, maybe the smaller ships, not many ships above or extra small to small ships are going to be a lot higher than the sea level. So I take a look at actually the Visas Ombre is a small ship, but it's actually got a lot less firepower, and it's a bounty hunter. When you do a side-by-side comparison and take a look at some of the links to videos I've done on any of one of these other ships, the Visas Ombre I personally like. But as far as an impactful ship, it is reduced. It does have stealth, but there's several others that have stealth that are actually more substantial ships. Then the Agrica Nurich, and really this one could, the Ombre could be put anywhere in here, medium of the C class, but the Nurich, basically it's a pretty looking vehicle to move around in. It again does not have a lot of firepower, and definitely isn't scaling above its class in anything. You have the Fimbule Lobi, which has no firepower to start out with, but it does have the transport capacity and standard ship other than that. Then you have the Calico Max Hog, which it does have a hard point that's larger than its class, but it only has 1 hard point. So it's not super substantial there, and it is a smaller ship. The Visas Solace, that one is, and the Opal Jet, the Pierce X4, these are all pretty interchangeable in their stats, and they are an extra small ship. One of the easiest to get into. Individually, they're not going to be a big game changer, but as a large group, I think these are fun to think about the possibilities, how you would use them. Then the Opel Jet, again, it's a racer. It's a pretty standard vehicle, but it's a smaller size. Now, this one is the Agrica Jade Astris, and this is where the larger ships, I brought some of those down in regards to its impact on the game. And so let's take a look at that one. Now, this one and the next two could be interchangeable where they lie on the rank, C rank. But for the Jade Asterisk, the way I think about this one, it comes off, and its purpose, I think, is going to be more like a luxury cruise liner. So it's not really a military strategy based around these things. It is not an economic mover and shaker. It's more of a social hub. And to the impact of the game, at least the early part of the game, I don't see this ship specifically having a major impact. This is more like late game. This is when UE5 is full on, and you can jump into the metaverse and go to these cool locations of VR, and go inside of this ship and really experience it. And that's what it really comes off to me as. And so definitely for this first part of game development, its impact is a lot less in that regards. Now we take a look at the firepower in comparison to all the other capital ships. It is significantly less. It's 200 firepower points fewer than the next capital ship, and so it is when you're talking about capital ships, it's pretty low down there. The next two are the Fimbul Green Adder and the Ogrica Tursic. Now, the Green Adder, it's got a reduction in firepower in the hard points because it has the bombs, the bombing bays, and that is kind of a difficult one to determine how much impact it will have. I suspect that there's going to be a threshold where the bombing capability of these ships will start to really take effect and be a powerful tool to use in combat, and especially attacking star bases, which should be a big focus of the first levels of Sage. And going into UE5 and the military maneuvering of the game. And so this is more of a guess, but I think individually the Green Adder is going to be too small to have a massive individual impact on a battle, for example, to go and drop its bombs and then essentially get out of there, because that's what it's there for. The Agrica Tursic, there's just nothing special about that ship. It's lower in its own class, and so I put that in the C rank. Now in B, it's either the standard ships like a good solid fighter ship or a good solid freighter ship is going to fit right in the middle at the B rank, or if it's a little bit lower on power, but it has a special ability to kind of bring it back up to that medium range in the impact on that game. And so that's where I start putting the Calico MedTech, the Pierce R6. Those are, the repair and rescue is their special attribute or focus. And I think, biased as I may be, I really do think that's going to be a big impact on the game. Even though they have reduced firepower, etc. They're a little bit more niche, but there's no other ships that really fill that role in their class. So they're unique. So I guess uniqueness in the way that they're used is important in the impact. Then you have the bit boat, Opal bit boat, and Metaverse Explorer actually did a really good comparison between the bit boat and the Rainbow Arc. And the bit boat is a solid ship. I would say for the large size ship, it is a good standard large ship. Even though it's considered a transport, it's got some substantial firepower, and for doing transport, getting people from place to place, that's almost like a more unique aspect. Whereas you have the Tufa Feist, the Busan Thrill of Life, both of these are good fighter ships. The Tufa's a little bit lower on the firepower, and let's jump over to that. Here, the firepower for the Tufa. It's low down in 60, close to the Ombwe, which again was in the lower class, and then right above that is the Busan Thrill of Life. So 69 for the Thrill of Life, and then the next small fighter is the Rainbow Chi, which is almost a 9, basically 9 firepower above that, which as far as a percentage is a big jump. So for that reason, if I'm going to choose one over the other, these are going to be in the B rank. They do have stealth, that kind of the uniqueness, that special ability gets them back up to B, even though their firepower is a little bit reduced. The Fimbule Packlight is going to be a solid freighter that I think is going to be a go-to freighter. The Rainbow Ulm is a little bit better than the Packlight. I think apples to apples comparison because of the Fatali tech that the Rainbow Ulm has. Increased engine size, a little bit faster, a little bit farther, better at that part of the freighting aspect of it. Then the Fimbule Erp is a great fighting ship. It punches above its weight. So it is a great fighter in its class, but I wouldn't say it goes above and beyond in any significant way without having some kind of a drawback to it. And then the Pierce X6 is actually, I believe, one of the top firepowers in the small ships. Yeah, I believe that's correct. So out of the small fighters, it's top at 97.3 firepower. So it is a very powerful, or the most powerful, but it does not have any unique unique aspect that it does. It is a fighter ship, a patrol type ship. The Fimbule Mamba is also a very powerful ship. It is the bounty hunter role, and so bounty hunters and fighter type ships are kind of filling a similar combat role. So that's a role that's very populated, but they are at the top of it as far as firepower. And I think pretty cool ships. Now, here's where the Bombarella, I think the Bombarella as a bombing ship is going to be on the higher end of this B rank because of that impact of the bombs and attacking star bases is going to start paying off. And it very well could move up to an A rank if the bombing ability proves to be extremely effective. If there is a meta that builds up around having ships with bombing bays. And so, but for now, since there's a little bit of question on how impactful that would be, it will be at the top of the B ranks. And the it's the Busan Maiden Heart, the Pierce C9, and the Visa's Ballad. All three of these are kind of filling the same spot. It's a capital ship. It is a powerful military force, but I don't see these as acting in a special, unique way. They are just powerful fighting ships and a great standard to have in a fleet. So B rank it is. Now we go on to A rank and Calico Evac. This, it's a medium ship. It has reduction in firepower, etc., but it's the largest rescue ship, and so I think the ability to rescue your crew after a ship has been destroyed is going to be a big impact in the way that the game plays, keeps people in the game. And so that I think is going to be a pretty big deal. You got the Agrica Thripid, which is a beastly ship, and in regards to firepower, a large fighter. Uh, its firepower is 564 compared to the bit boat, which is 406. So that's almost a 20% increase from what I think is a good standard large ship. This is going to be one that will be the tip of the spear in military and aggressive type fleets. So I think that's right in at the bottom part of the A rank. Now, next on the A rank is the ATS Enforcer, and this is just below the Thripid in firepower, but it is a class below it. It is a medium-sized ship, and it has a capital-sized gun. And so even though a capital-sized gun with a medium-sized energy supply is not going to perform at the same level as a capital gun with a capital energy supply, I think this is a big enough roll jump, and I should say be able to punch above its weight to a large enough degree that puts it in the A rank, because used as an individual ship, this could take on a large or even potentially a capital ship with a medium-sized ship. That's a big cost benefit to it, and I think especially for the initial part, trying to figure out where those balance out, the ATS Enforcer has a good shot of being a really important ship to work with. Next is the Calico Compact Hero, and the reason this is in the A rank versus the B rank is from my personal experience with spaceship and fighting type games. When you have a really well balanced ship, that has almost a multiplier in regards to its impact in that game. The amount of people that are able to use it and use it well in different game loops. And so the beginning of the game, if you don't have a specific type of game loop made for a very niche a ship, like a repair ship or a luxury liner, right? If you are trying to maximize your impact with this ship, you're going to want it to be able to have multiple roles. And so the multi-role aspect of it and the well-roundedness of it, the very well-balanced aspect of the Calico Hero, I think puts that into the A rank as far as ships that you would want to have in your fleet to have the maximum impact in the game. Then we go on to the Pierce X5. Now, this is an extra small ship, but I put it in the A rank because it has, well, first of all, 6 weapon hardpoints. So it has the average in a standard ship, I would call 4 hardpoints for a fighter type ship, the standard. And so this is at the top side of the firepower in its class. And then also it has 5 different forms it can take. It can put all 4 arms forward for firepower. It can put them back for speed boost. It can bring its arms in tight for extra defense. It has a lot of flexibility, and much like the Compact Hero, the ability to shift and move from one game loop to another and be very effective in all these different roles, I think is really big. It has even a cargo, extra small cargo slot, so it can fill the freight slot. It can fill the fighter slot. It can go into very dangerous zones in its highly protective form and have a good chance of punching through and getting out. So it finds a place that it can be useful throughout. And then the fact that it's a relatively inexpensive ship in comparison to most of these. So, what are the first ships that are going to go in the high risk zone? Probably not the ones that you've paid thousands of dollars for until you really know the game or are confident that you can go in there without getting your ship blown up. But would you take a risk with something like this? I think this is going to have a big impact on the game from that standpoint too. And so that gives it into the A rank. Then we have the Rainbow Chi. Now the Rainbow Chi is a beautiful ship, but I didn't put it in the A rank for its looks. I put it in there for what's under the hood. So we'll take a look, and it has a medium slot impulse engine, so it's going to be faster than other small ships in its class. It has 4 hard points, and so it's going to be able to go firepower wise head to head with any fighter ship in its class, but it also has a hull reinforcement, so it has additional defense. And the Fatoli technology, this is the top of the line technology in the game, and so hitting into the A rank I think is appropriate for the Rainbow Chi. Following that in the Rainbow line is the Rainbow Arc. Now, I know Metaverse Explorers probably screaming right now and wondering why it's not at the very tip top of the S rank, but as far as it boils down, I think it is a great freighter ship. I think it's the size of it is large enough to have a big impact on the game from a freighting side of things. And then it does, as he had shown compared to the Opal Bit Boat, it does win out, but doesn't win out by, an unbelievable amount. It is a great large freighter, and it definitely top of its class in that regards. And I think it belongs in the A rank. Then we go to the Calico Guardian, which as a capital ship, I think it's one of the better capital ships at that multi-role. It has some unique aspects of it. With the hydroponics, I'm sure Whitticus would make that point as well. And so having that well-roundedness, a similar concept to the Calico hero in a capital class ship, then this is going to be towards the front of the A rank. Then I did a video in comparison with the Pierce F4, ATS Enforcer, and Fimbul Mamba in the medium range, and I see the F4 as the top of the medium class ships, and would put it at the top of the A class rank. You can take a look at that video for more details on that ship and the comparison and why I might put it there. But as far as its impact, 5 crew members, and so when you're docked and crafting resources, etc., it has a benefit on top of all the other aspects of its firepower, etc. Then the Visas O-Pod, I think this is just under your S class because of its data running ability. It's a unique, it fills a unique role, and pound for pound, Whitticus would say this, make this point again, pound for pound, it is one of the best ships out there. And so for that, for a medium class ship to be at the top of the A rank, I think is appropriate for how good that is compared to other ships in its class. Then we jump into the S class. And so the top is going to be your Titans. I mean, the Titans move and the universe moves. And that's the point of the Titans. As far as an impact on the game, they are mobile star bases, and so they are at the top of at the very top of the S ranks. At the bottom of the S rank is going to be your commander ships, the tank ship, the tree arrow, and the C-11. Uh, these are all kind of interchangeable depending on what parts you like the most. I suspect if the effect of bombing is more impactful, then the tree arrow is going to be at that threshold where it by itself is going to be a game changer in the battle, and could overtake the C-11 in its place in the rank. So these are a little bit interchangeable, and it is arguable that they are right under the Titans. I put these the next two in there because I have a lot more to say about it. First, the R8. Now, I'm sure if you have watched this channel for any amount of time, you probably think there's a bit of a bias towards the R8 and the repair and rescue aspect of the game. It is my favorite game loop 4-star Atlas, but I assure you, I have removed my emotional chip and stored it in a very safe place. And so this is based purely off of what this thing has in the same comparison as every other ship. And so let's take a look at that. It is a large ship, so by itself, it has a large presence. As far as the impact on the game, it has two large weapon hardpoints, which is a reduction from what a large fighter ship would be expected to have on board. But it's not a massive firepower reduction with that in mind. It's still up here at 258. It's not meant as a fighter ship, but it has large guns to defend itself. And then all the other stuff is pretty standard, but then you have two capital modules. All right, so that's a capital slot for fuel for both of those, but that's a size up on two different modules. And a couple thoughts with this. One, modules can be interchanged. You can change them out for different things. To jack up an R8 with a capital slot, you name it, put something else in there. You could do some Frankenstein stuff to this thing and actually turn it into a multi-role ship. You just have a lot of room to move around there. It has one large cargo slot, so it already kind of has the ability to flex into a freighter style ship. But then the fuel is actually one of the big aspects for the impact on the game. There is no other ship that refuels, period. There's no ship. You have to go back to a star base in order to refuel. The ability to travel in a spacefaring game is even more essential than the fighting aspect. Okay, so this is the in my opinion the most essential resource for the game to exist, and it's only one type of ship that can do this outside of a starbase. So the exploration, the further reaching, is going to be directly based off of how many R8s are out there in the area and are part of your fleet to be able to help your fleet get further. So as far as an impact, that's a special case. And S rank, that is why I put it in there. You can argue that. You would be wrong, and I'll fight you. Okay, so moving on to the next one. And that is the Pierce D9. And I do not have a Pierce D9. If I had the funds, I would get that Pierce D9. And let me explain why. Now, I've done a specific video on the D9, and I recommend that you take a look at it to go more in depth on my thoughts on this. But you know, S rank is a special case scenario, a ship that is like no other. And this is the only salvage ship that we have so far, and it is a capital size ship, so it's got a big presence in and of itself. It's got drones and you know, it's reduced in its weapon hardpoint, so that is a big point. Its ability to have military effectiveness is reduced, but it has the salvage, it has cargo, drone port, and the fuel slot, which I think is really useful to go out and gather up all the destroyed stuff, all the scrap ships, and bring it back into the game to salvage it. And it talks about having processing, recycling, and refinement facilities inside the ship. Now, the only other place that you're going to find that is at star bases. And so, other than something like a D9, if you go out and collect resources or scrap from destroyed ships, etc., you'd have to go back to the star base. But with the D9's ability to recycle and refine, you'll be able to do those processes out in the depths of space. And so you're essentially expanding the ability of a starbase out much further than any starbase will be able to be. That's a game changer. That's the type of game changing aspect that you would want to see in an S rank ship. The R8 is able to expand your travel far beyond any individual ship. The D9 has the ability to expand your refinement and recycling process far beyond any starbase. And the Titans and Commanders are essentially mobile space stations. S rank. That is how it works. Thank you very much for watching. Don't worry about liking or subscribing. If you know somebody that would find this interesting, or if you know someone who put together the ranks and they got it all wrong, please show them this video, share it with them. If you could do that, then today was a good day. Good morning, Metaverse.